Are you looking for a small up-and-coming community that you can grow with? Then look no further than StarNet. This is the server review series where we judge servers based on 5 key elements: gameplay quality, community and moderation, performance, visual design, and replayability. So let's jump right in. But before we do that, let's hear a little bit about StarNet. StarNet is a new up-and-coming community based on a survival vacation experience where you own your own island that you can expand by yourself or with friends. That's if you have any. I don't. But it's okay because you can play solo. The server is actually only available on Minecraft Java Edition, so I apologize to people on Bedrock. But the main aims of the server are actually to provide a place where you can socialize and play mini-games, but also complete quests to earn yourself some rewards and cosmetics. And if you're like me that has a bit of a gambling addiction, these cosmetics do come in handy to actually, tick that little ADHD part of your brain. The server is also currently in a closed alpha, but you can join the Discord to either buy a pass or you can earn it through doing competitions and giveaways. Sadly, my luck is absolutely terrible, so I went and bought a pass so I can actually do this review. But hey, maybe you guys are more lucky than me, but if you were, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. If you guys would like more information about StarNet specifically, whether that be the origins of the server or where it's going to go, then by all means go into the Discord and reach out with your questions. They are a really friendly community, and they do actually have a roadmap available in the Discord, so you guys can actually see where the aims and the future of the server is going to be. And just one last thing before we jump into the rest of the review. If you guys do like this video, then make sure you drop it a like and drop a sub. Even if StarNet isn't for you, there could be another server that I cover that might pique your interest in the future, and you guys need to make sure you're notified for that. So let's get into the gameplay quality. What do I actually think about StarNet? Well, obviously, there's loads of different things that you can do. You can complete loads of quests, which, I mean, if you guys have the time for it, then they're really fun to do, and I actually quite enjoyed them. There's also different things that you actually end up doing without realizing you're actually doing quests, and you can get an island. Now, if you're like me and you like to hoard money, I basically ran around like Sonic the entire time for the first 2 hours I played the server because I have a problem with needing to tickle that small part of my brain that makes me want to feel like a child again. Apart from that, there's loads of really nice mini games that if you're also like me, you'll probably lose and rage at all the time because that's just what I do. But apart from that, the actual gameplay quality is really enjoyable. I found a lot of the quests really fun and interesting to go through, and adventuring around the island to actually find people was both absolutely terrible because I hate doing hide and seek, but also really enjoyable because it gave me a reason to actually look at what a beautiful world that they've created. Now, they've added loads of different things like companions. Companions were brought in recently, and they also look really cool. I have to say, I absolutely love them. They're so adorable. I may or may not just have a weakness for animals. I went to a zoo on the weekend, so I mean, maybe I'm being a little soft. The actual experience of creating your island and going through and expanding it, it feels very fluid. Your island expands based on your level, and don't get me started on the level up animation that comes up on the screen. It's phenomenal, but we'll cover that in a later section. But the actual process of playing the game doesn't feel tedious, it doesn't feel long, it feels just balanced enough. And this is something that a lot of servers kind of lack. I think the saddest part about this is that I know that my level and my progress is probably going to be wiped when we come out of alpha and it goes into beta or the server becomes public. But I also don't mind the idea of doing this all again because it was such an enjoyable experience. Overall as well, the server really just kind of kept me captivated at all times, and I didn't feel like it was a grind at any point. There were multiple people I could speak to if I had any questions or queries, and I think that's really what enhanced the server in itself. Just because there isn't too much content, I can't give the server a 10 on the gameplay quality because sometimes it did feel like some of the quests took too long, which I do understand. The server is an alpha, but I want to judge fairly. But for that, I'm going to actually give the gameplay quality a 9 out of 10. Now, actually looking at the community and moderation side of things, this is actually a really friendly server. I didn't feel like there was any micromanaging or players trying to be admins or anyone thinking that they were too big for their boots. The server itself actually felt quite friendly, which is quite rare for a small community. You normally have somebody trying to be a vicious dictator thinking that a server is there to scratch their ego, but that really wasn't the case. The server itself had a really friendly community, and to be completely honest, I don't actually see any red flags within this community. Obviously, this is from a very small sample size, and it's based on my time zone, but I haven't seen any issues for this. Now, by all means, if people want to go and join the community and be toxic, I don't recommend it, but that could change. It depends on how many people join. But at the time of recording this, I didn't see any issues and everyone seemed really friendly. The staff themselves were actually really nice in support tickets, and they were actually really welcoming about me doing this review, which was really kind because, you know, it's a new series and it's a small channel. So I just want to thank them personally for that as well. But yeah, overall, I'm going to actually give the community moderation a 10. It's very rare that I would probably say that, but I really didn't see any issues with this community at all, and I would actually consider playing here. Now, one of the most important things to people is how the server performs. Is the performance good? Is it bad? Am I going to try and punch something and be waiting 6 hours for the block to actually break? Now, I'm going to be honest, StarNet didn't have this at all. It was a very smooth running server. Granted, it's a very small server, so this could change with the size going up. But at the moment, the server seemed to know what they're doing. I didn't experience any lag. There were some moments where we were asked if they could do a resource pack refresh just because there were a few changes made while the server was live, which was just always a nice sign to see constant content being added at times. But this didn't actually cause lag. It just did a 10-second delay in your playtime experience. Overall, I've seen the server get to about 10 players while I've played, and that's the most I've kind of seen it at. I'm not sure if it's gone to higher numbers than that, but obviously, again, comes down to time zone. But for me, the server's held up really well. The mini games have held up really well on a higher player count too, and I've seen no complaints on the Discord at all about somebody saying that they've experienced lag, and any issues that have been found, they've been addressed pretty quickly within a ticket from my knowledge. But yeah, overall, I think the performance is really good as well. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 purely down to the fact that I don't actually know how it would cope with a much higher player count. But apart from that, it's definitely a solid server that you wouldn't expect much lag on. Now on to my favorite part, visual design. When I say that this server was essentially porn to my eyes, I don't think I can emphasize this more if I tried. This server's beautiful. The fact that there's so many custom textures may put some people off, but there's just little details that are around that just really send a server to a different level for me. The fact that there's actual, well, furniture that you can go up to and sit in is a nice detail. I see so many servers that just add this furniture and you can't actually interact with it. And to me, that just, it's not lazy, but it's just not right. Why add furniture and not be able to sit in it? But StarNet allow me to. I can put down a bench and I can go sit on the bench. Like, it's amazing. Overall, the actual interface, apart from one thing, which would be the fact that the hunger bar is kind of hidden but showing. I'm not sure if that's just a me thing because of the mods that I had enabled, but apart from that, everything was so smooth, and there's constant resource pack updates coming in, and the fact that you guys can actually suggest content to the server for new things is one of the best things about this community. And they go and get loads of textures. They'll make their own textures if you come up with an idea that there isn't a texture available. There's not really a limit to the creativity that the server has, and that's one of the best parts about it. Overall, visual design, definitely a 10 for me. Absolutely smashed it. Couldn't recommend a better looking server if I tried. Now, I'm going to be honest, it feels really harsh to try and judge StarNet on replayability. It's kind of difficult to judge a server that is in alpha on how much it's replayable when it's got limited content, and when you know that content will be reset when a server becomes public. So I'm going to try and do this as nice as I can, because I can't rate this highly purely down to the fact that there isn't enough content for me to play this server for more than 10 hours at the moment. Overall, the server is so heavily reliant on its community that I think the replayability factor depends on what time zone you're in and how many people you can play with. Now, don't get me wrong, it depends on what sort of server you like. If you like to do a lot of grinding, then you're perfectly fine. If you're a big grinding player, then I'm sure you'll love this server. But for now, for me, I don't really think I can give replayability anything more than a 7. Just because of the fact the server's in alpha and there's a limited amount of content. Now, I fully expect them to add a load more content into the server, and for people like me that are old boomers to actually enjoy doing other things. The minigames are great, but there's only so many times you can play the same 5 mini games on repeat. And obviously that then also depends on how many people are online for you to play those mini games with. So it's so dependent on so many different things that, to me, I'm going to have to give replayability a 7. It would be higher, but obviously I'm reviewing the server during alpha. A few months down the line, maybe when we get into the new year, it could be better again. The main reason it goes up to a 7 is the amount of events that they've done, and these events add something new for people to come in and actually do. So I think a 7 is a fair rating considering the server's in alpha, but it's definitely worth giving this a try, either on your own or with a few friends. Now, overall, looking at StarNet, if you average all the scores, I've given it a 9 out of 10 overall. Now, obviously, you need to take this with a pinch of salt. I'm taking this more out of perspective of what I've played and what I've done. I think overall the score probably should be lower, down to the fact that the server is in alpha, but because of how promising the server is and how good the community is as a whole, and how much just the staff team listen to what you want and what you expect from the server, and they constantly ask you these questions, I think it warrants actually being a 9 out of 10 overall for the server. And I really don't think I can recommend this server more if I tried. It's such a small up-and-coming community that you really could just work your way up the ranks if you guys like the idea of becoming staff. I know they're looking for staff. You guys can play on the server and possibly earn your way up there. I don't know too much about the development team as a whole, but this Discord server has over 1,000 people in it. This server isn't a server that's just appeared and is dying off in 2 weeks' time. It's been doing this alpha phase now for at least a month, and it is just growing and growing and growing. And I just really think that this is a server you guys should either look at and possibly play, or maybe just join a Discord and check and just keep an eye on it until the server comes out in full release. I really can't recommend this server more, and I definitely think it's worth at least a look or a try. Anyway, that's actually been the review for StarNet. If you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like. And if you guys do have any other servers that you would like me to review, make sure you drop them down below. If you guys want to join my community and actually stay up to date with all the things that I do, then make sure you join my Discord or drop a sub, and hopefully you guys will see the next video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.